All right, this is kind of cute. Consider the circuit below. The three equivalent light bulbs with a resistance of 7.2 ohms are connected as shown. The cell has a potential of 16 volts, negligible internal resistance, right? So let's call these guys A and B and C, right? What is the power supplied by the cell with the switch open? Okay, now understand open means current does not flow. Flowing. When we close a switch, we bring the switch down and it touches, okay? So closed is the switch is on, right? All right, so with the switch open, the resistances, these are both 7.2, right? So the total resistance is just 7.2 plus 7.2, and C and B are just in series, boop, 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 and the current just does this, right? So there's lots of ways to figure out the power, right? But the simplest way I feel like is to just go V squared over R. That's my favorite, right? So our voltage is 16 volts, right? Divide that by the what is that, 14.4, and you're set, right? Okay, let me make sure that what I wrote down is correct. Yeah, that's what I get, right? So that's pretty simple, right? Which, by the way, means if it's 17.7, each bulb has a power of, it's symmetric, right? So each A has a power of 0, B has a power of 8.88 watts, C has a power of 8.88 watts. And that's because that's half of this, right? Okay. Now we close the switch, right? And now it gets a little more tricky, right? R is equal to 7.2, and then what's in series with it is both of these bulbs, right? So in series, it's a 7.2 to the minus 1, right? Or if you paid attention in class, you know that that's 3.6 ohms, right? This thing is, right? Just two resistors have twice the current of one when they're in parallel, and so it's half the resistance, right? So our resistance is 10.8, is that right? Right, and so you can go V squared over R, and you can find it, right? Now the question is, what's the power of these individual light bulbs, okay? It might be worth your while, this is just a hint for the test, because there's a question that's on the test that's not here, to actually go in and figure out what these powers are, right? So for example, the power of C would be, we'd have to figure out the current, right? It would be 16 over, what is that, 10.8, right? The current through C, right, is 16 divided by 10.8. That being this expression, right? Pretty sure that expression evaluates. So let me make sure I'm not making a mistake here. Yeah, we got it. All right. So that current is 1.481 repeating, right? And half that current goes through, in this situation, right? Half goes through this guy, half goes through this guy. Okay. No, we got a phone call. We got an incoming call here. So half goes one way, half goes another way, right? And so we can figure out the power that these things dissipate, right? Okay. Anyway. Happy solving.